Halakha says that if a person has a tzitzit, which has 4 corners, now he takes the 4 corners and he makes them, instead of being a corner, he rounds them off and they're no longer a corner. The halakha, normally again, if a beged, you buy a beged that doesn't have a corner, rather it's rounded off, halakha says, it's not considered a beged that's chayav tzitzit patush. However, if you took the beged and all you did was you just folded over your corner in a way that no longer it's a corner, it's rounded off, it's not anymore an exact corner-looking kind of beged. Even if you actually sewed it, halakha says you're still obligated to put on tzitzit on such a beged. Kevan that again, this is not a permanent thing. Since it's not a permanent thing, even though you really sewed it, but you could easily take it apart and it could just be put back right into place as a corner. So therefore, you still hayav to put on tzitzit on such a beged. He brings down, let's say he folded over his corner to form another corner, which means that he had an original corner and now he either shortened his tzitzit by, it was a little bit too long, so he folded over his tzitzit a little bit, but he still has a corner. So where does he put on his tzitzit? Does he put on the tzitzit on the original corner, or does he put it on the new corner which he formed? So he says in such a case, again, there are those that would hold that you would put on the new corner. He says it's best, of course, if you're actually leaving it that way, that if a person is folding over his talet or his tzitzit because it's a little bit too long, he says in such a case, if a person should make a tefillah, he should make a kind of tefillah which is going to be permanent, where it's sewed on with machine and things like that, where no longer does a person take it off, and then in such a case you would put on the tzitzit on the new corner. However, if he's leaving it as the original beged and he's just sewing it up with, temporarily, in such a case he could still put on the tzitzit on the old corner. He says that the beged did not have a corner, it was rounded off, and then he folded it over in order to form a corner, and he sewed it again, sewing it not with a permanent kind of sewing. He says in such a case it's a safek if a person is obligated to put on tzitzit on such a beged, and therefore to get out of all sfekot, again in such a case a person should not do such a thing. Rather he should actually sew it on permanently, where he's having it done by machine and things like that, where it's actually not going to be taken off, and then a person is hayav to put on tzitzit according to all opinions.